everybody, welcome back to the weekly home run with yours truly. Hopefully you didn't miss my beautiful face too much last week, haha. So anyway, we're going to talk about masks today and how they relate to our softball career and our spiritual walk. Okay, so just to jump right into it, we're going to look at a catcher. Catchers obviously wear masks, and whenever the ball comes, pops up behind them, in front of them, to the side of them, we often see them try to rip that mask off as quickly as possible. They're throwing it to the side, don't care where it goes, don't care how much dad just paid for it, trying to dodge the umpire, but it's gone. Whatever it is, it's gone. They're ripping it off, trying to get their mask out of their sight so they can see the ball, have the best vantage point to find the ball wherever it may be. Okay, and sometimes we hear coaches be like, hey, leave your mask on. I mean, it takes less time, you're not throwing it in the air, you're not tripping over it, which I would, and just leave it on, look through the holes, because, you can see through it, and so it makes sense, right? Like, why wouldn't we, spend less time throwing off our mask rather than looking through the holes that we have through it, right? So, moving on to a hitter's mask, I wear one on my helmet, most people do, but it's something that definitely protects me, keeps me safe, makes me more comfortable. In college we have the choice of whether we wear a mask or not. I've definitely seen a lot of balls come off my bat back into my face, and I'm really glad I have a mask there. But having this mask is obviously, for a catcher and for a hitter, it's protection. Keeps us safe, keeps us in one piece, makes sure we're not losing a tooth or anything, and not bleeding, because that's disgusting and gross. So we're happy to have these masks there that keep us safe. We're comfortable in them. I've seen a lot of balls come off of a catcher's mask, and they barely even blink because they know that that mask is there to keep them safe. Yeah, we might flinch a little bit because there's a 70-mile-an-hour ball coming at us, but at the same time, we know that mask is going to keep us safe, and we're not constantly jumping out of the way trying to avoid the ball that's coming at us. So, how do we relate this to our Christian walk? As a Christian, for me, I find it easy to want to put on a mask, rather than going up to somebody and be like, hey, this is me, this is what I struggle with, this is who I am, this is that, and here's all of me. This is my life. That's uncomfortable, right? Letting somebody know, what you struggle with, what you deal with, or where you come from. That's really scary. So, of course, it seems easier to want to put on a mask to be able to say, hey, you know what? If I'm more like this person, I'll fit in with this group better. If I'm more like this person, or God, if I could just change this and be more like this person, things would be better. Things would be easier. They don't have to know anything else. I know personally for me, part of my testimony was being extremely painfully shy. And as you can imagine, this is a little bit of a stretch. It's vulnerable, it's a little bit scary, but it's, taking off this mask. People used to say, oh, look, you came out of your shell. I'm like, what am I, a turtle? Okay. But, coming off of this, or taking these masks off and showing people who you really are and showing how perfect you really are made in Christ is what's important. Because, you hear, fake it till you make it, or, I'm just going to be like this group because it's easier to fit in this way, or it's easier for me to relate with these people if I could just change this, if I wear this, if I do this. And sometimes it's easier to pretend that we're someone else maybe, rather than showing our true colors and showing who we really are to those around us. And sometimes I get caught up in, who am I supposed to be? I'm an athlete, I'm a student, I'm this, I'm that, I'm supposed to be this, I'm supposed to be this person and that person. It's just like, okay, I know that my identity is in Christ and Christ alone. So, I don't let softball define me, I don't let success or failure or school, none of those things define me. Yeah, they're part of maybe who I am and what has made me who I am, but they do not define me. Christ defines me alone. So, that's comforting for me to know, because, a lot of times we see, we're even wearing all the same uniform. Everybody looks the same, and it's easy to want to fit in with this group and say, okay, well, here we go. We're not gingerbread, right? We're not all cookie cutter. We're not all the same, and that's okay, because Christ made us all in His own image. Going back to what we talked about last week in Psalm 139:14, we're fearfully and wonderfully made in His image. He made us all perfectly and unique and different, and for a reason. He doesn't want us to all be the same, otherwise He would have made us that way, right? And where's the fun if we're all the same? Kind of boring, right? So we're all unique. We all have our own stories. We have our own little quirks where, that's how we are. God created us that way for a reason. And sometimes we want to take these things that we think are faults and failures, or, I'm not good at this, or I can't do this, or, I don't have this talent, but we want to cover those things up rather than, let them show. But we don't have to cover them up because Christ redeems us. He redeems the times that we trip and fall and our failures, and just wipes us clean every time. How crazy is that? I mean, again, we're striving to be the best person we can in Christ, but he's picking us up. He's like, okay, we're going to try this again, put you back on the path, try it one more time. Okay, no, really, let's get it right this time. But he's definitely there with us every step of the way, even though we think sometimes we have to be someone else rather than the person that Christ created us to be, which is definitely hard. I mean, I can tell you from a first-hand experience, it's easy to want to fit in rather than, being yourself and being who you are rather than, what everyone else is doing. So, Christ defines me. Not school, not softball, not my friends, not what I wear, not what I drive. It's Christ and Christ alone. And that is a huge comfort because, if that depended on all of these other things, it would change all the time, right? Who knows? Who we would be. Regarding that, it says in John 15 and John 17, also in Romans 12 too, do not be conformed to the ways of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind in Christ Jesus. We are in the world, but we are not of the world. And that's a comfort because that means that we're here on earth, but we're not defined by it. And we're defined by his glory alone. He doesn't want us all to be the same or conform to the ways of the world because he's transformed us. He's renewed us and changed us into who we are. So that's a huge comfort for me, especially when I find myself wanting to put on these different masks and be these different people when really Christ is like, hey, just be yourself. I made you for a reason so that you could go through something, be stronger through it, and help someone else through it down the road who maybe is struggling with the same issues or the same things. And so one of the main scriptures that I want to use for this is Hebrews 12, 1 through 2. It says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. Let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So we're encouraged daily to just throw off the things that, the burdens that we carry, the things that, the sin that entangles us. God's saying, hey, let us throw those off so that we can be a witness, so that we can share his faith and share his glory throughout everything that we do in life.